All right, folks, welcome to another mini-sode. My name is Dustin Harris. Going to name this episode Crap Happens. We are sponsored today by ANow Software. I'll tell you, crap does not happen with ANow Software. ANow allows me to get through the crap and really get on to what's important. You can check them out right now at anow.com/coach. Once again, it's anow.com/coach. Well, folks, welcome to this mini-sode. I thought of this mini-sode a couple days ago, and I don't know if I could have recorded the mini-sode a couple days ago just because I was in a foul mood, just to be honest with you. It was one of those days that, without going into a whole lot of detail, let's just say that nothing went right. You've had those days, right? You wake up in the morning, you don't feel good, you try to go to the gym, you don't make it. Nothing in the house for breakfast. Wife wakes up, she's angry at something, upset at something. And by the way, my wife is an angel. Okay, I know she's listening, so no, she actually doesn't listen to this, so I can say anything I want. But she really is an angel. She's a gorgeous, beautiful woman inside and out. But she has her days, and I have my days, and sometimes those collide. After 22 years of marriage, you learn to stay out of each other's way on those days. But I just had one of these days the other day, and it wasn't my wife's fault. It was my fault. I woke up in a crappy mood, as they say, on the wrong side of the bed, and nothing seemed to go right. And I had to do something very, very difficult at work that day. Very difficult at work. Without getting into, you know what? I'll tell you this much. I had to fire somebody. It was a key employee whom I love, and it was a tough thing to do. But it was something that needed to be done. And it just made for a really crappy day. And on my way home from work that day, I thought, you know what? When they say crap happens, they're right. Some days crap just happens. And so my question is, what do you do during those days? What can you do to change those days? And I think you're going to be surprised at the answer that I give you when we get back from the break. First, I want to remind you we are sponsored by ANow Software. Folks, I've been using ANow Software for almost a couple years now, and at least a year and a half. And I'll tell you what, it has transformed the way that I do business. I am now able to keep track of everything that goes on in my appraisal office. I can be in like a day, like today. I'm the only one in the office today. If I want to know what's going on with an appraisal, I simply jump on ANow and I look at the dashboard and I know exactly where we're at. Well, let's say I get a call from a client right now, and they say, "Hey, what's the status of this appraisal?" And I'm thinking, oh crap, I don't remember what the status. I can go to ANow Software. I can look at the notes. I can look at the there's a sliding scale of tasks that have to be done with every appraisal. I can know what position that scale is in at any moment. Folks, that's the kind of thing that ANow will help you do, and so much more. Check them out right now, anow.com/coach. By the way, when you sign up for ANow and you use anow.com/coach, you get 3 free months. 3 free months, say that 10 times fast. 3 free months to the All-Star team. That's right. The All-Star team is free with a sign up for ANow, anow.com/coach. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. There's a lot of gurus out there. I follow a lot of them. Some of these individuals that are, Tony Robbins comes to mind, and, some of these other individuals that are very, very uplifting, upbeat. They're constantly, preaching this mantra of, you choose the way you feel, and, attitude determines your altitude, all these things that basically say, you know what, you should wake up every day and be happy. Well, guess what, folks? Ain't happening. Okay? That's my answer for today. Here's the Appraiser Coach guru telling you that some days life is gonna suck, and there's nothing you can do about it. Period. End of story. Any other questions? Great. Let's sign off. Now, I will give you some positive here, okay? In my Go Create Some Value workshop, there is a segment, and it's near the end. In fact, it may actually be the last segment, if I remember correctly, of that workshop. By the way, that workshop is a 10-hour plus workshop, videos, supplemental materials, everything else. If you want to know how I do my business, okay, That Go Create Some Value workshop tells you the insides and outs. It was created about 4 years ago, and I'm still doing pretty much everything in that workshop. There's a couple things that I've tweaked, like Now software, for example, but for the most part, everything is working the same as I did 4 years ago. The principles never change, and you'll get all the principles there in the Go Create Some Value workshop. By the way, coupon code is podcast if you want $50 off that. But the reason I bring up the workshop is there is a segment in there that I call the Yoyo Concept, okay? Now, this is not something that I got from anybody else. You'll know that when I tell you what it is because it's not all that brilliant, but something I thought of one day when I was using a yo-yo. My son had bought a yo-yo, and I was using it, and I thought to myself, the only way a yo-yo works is that it goes up and it goes down. Okay, I know that sounds goofy and it sounds simplistic. You're like, all right, Dustin, I signed in for that, huh? Well, thanks for the advice. Okay, hang with me. What I'm saying is this. A yo-yo would not be much fun if you just held it in your hand, all wound up, and did your thing with it, right? What makes a yo-yo fun is that it goes down and then it goes back up. Okay, stay with me. It can't go up until it goes down. Okay, I want you to apply that to your life. If you are always up, if you are always positive, if you're always, these Tony Robbins followers that say, gee, I'm just happy all the time. I don't know if Tony Robbins would say that, okay? He probably wouldn't. He probably is smart enough to realize that, we just have crappy days sometimes, and there's nothing we can do about it, period. End of story. And that's my advice today, is to just realize that. As I was driving home from this really crappy day the other day, I thought to myself, you know what, Dustin? Crap happens. And I was in a foul mood. I really was. I might have even said a few curse words that day, right? As I'm driving home, I'm realizing that sometimes life just stinks and there's nothing you can do about it. The things that happened that day were just crappy. They just were. And there's not much I could do about it. But they were just crappy and they just were, right? I just want, I guess, today to realize that crap sometimes happens and that's okay. And if you want to have good days, you've got to have the bad days as well. In other words, there's got to be kind of that push-pull, that yin-yang, that opposition in all things. You hear that kind of thing as well. I would say that it would be wise as appraisers, as business owners, just as people in general, to realize that some days are good and some days are bad. And when you're having some bad days, that you need to maybe stop yourself and say, you know what? I'm glad I'm having a bad day, because it will help me to appreciate the good days. I know that sounds simplistic, okay? Now, I will say this. If you are having more bad days than good, something is wrong. Sometimes that wrong thing might be medical. Sometimes that wrong thing might be a chemical imbalance that you might need to get taken care of, okay? If you're having suicidal thoughts, that's not a good thing. That's not a bad day, okay? That's not a bad day. That's much worse than a bad day, and that's something that needs professional help. But if you're just having a bad day here or there, please remember on those bad days that most of the time things are good. Most of the time things are good. Thanks for joining me, folks, for this little rant, this little epiphany, if you will. Sometimes crap just happens. Sometimes you have a crappy day, and that's okay, because the next day will probably not be as bad. Yeah, I know. Wise advice, right? All right, folks. We'll catch you next time.